Hello, Dr. Hall, any fellow classmates that might be watching this video, and anybody else out there in cyberspace who might be enjoying this presentation I'm doing today. Thank you for joining me today. I wanted to do a presentation and talk about multiculturalism in terms of a transformational leader in multicultural education, and specifically in higher education. In general, multiculturalism is really at this point in time moving beyond the melting pot ideology where all people are going to come together, all cultures are going to come together and kind of blend into one larger American culture. And it's really about celebrating the cultures that are amongst us now and for their uniqueness and individuality. The 2009 census has already indicated that people of color and minorities are now at 33% of the population, which is actually expected to change according to the New York Times by 2042, which at that point in time, the now minorities are going to be the majority in the United States. So it's definitely changing. The cultures and the people that are in this country are changing. And really, diversity is something to be celebrated and something that's starting to be celebrated by many outlets. However, multiculturalism in the classroom hasn't always been something that has been positive for some students because kind of this idea of having to encompass everybody hasn't been welcomed by all institutions, educational institutions. So education has not been equal in the United States, and embracing multiculturalism to some extent would be admitting that education has not been equal for many people and that people have been actually left out. So there has been some resistance about really making a multicultural environment. Moving beyond good intentions is really important at this time in order to bring about the change that we're looking for in terms of multicultural education and having the student experience be enhanced. Transformational leadership, this idea came from James McGregor Burns in 1978. His way of going about transformational leadership really focused on politics, armed forces, and business. However, as this idea of leadership, the style of leadership grew, other areas started looking at this and how it affected their fields, and education was no different. And actually, there were some strong correlations of ways that this type of leadership would be useful in the educational field. Transformational leaders have been defined by Bass in 1998 as somebody who motivates others, and more so than they initially planned and more than they possibly imagined. So it's really about tugging at people's hearts and really putting them in the right frame of mind to want to do more and to really want to affect change and really burning that fire and motivation for them to build that change. Guthier and Sherman, they said that it's really about leaders. These leaders are about creating an environment in which the individual feels empowered. So it's really about talking about the individuals that are buying into what this leader is proposing and really gets them, again, motivated to make the changes necessary. The individuals who are following through, they really identify with the leader, and because they trust this person and they really trust what they want, the change that they want to make, they feel more comfortable and thus follow this leader. So transformational leadership is really about building relationships and getting people to buy in and for them to trust what is going on and to get excited about the change that is happening. How I see transformational leadership in my personal experiences, I work in higher ed. I'm currently at a community college, but I've been in the field for 11 years now, and I began in undergraduate admissions. And early on in my career, I decided that admissions is where I wanted to be and eventually become a director of admissions, which I'm still seeking to do. Um, but once I got into the field, I realized that higher ed was more political than I had anticipated, and it was not as collaborative as I thought it was going to be. And so it really opened up my eyes to what leaders in the field were really doing and how they were utilizing their power, quote unquote power, um, under the premise that they were being leaders or under leadership. And what that taught me is that what I really value about a transformational leadership is building those relationships, is making people feel valued, is empowering people as we move forward towards change. And when I got into the field, I noticed a lot of people were not doing that. And that's how I personally wanted to bring about change in my area. Also, as a student, I really felt like the other. As a Latina in a predominantly white institution, I felt that I was only there because of affirmative action, or I was made to feel that way by fellow classmates. And I remember being in the diversity class that we all had to attend, and really seeing that some of the students were not buying into this concept of diversity, and really thinking now retrospectively that if the approach to those sessions would have been really looking for more engagement and really had more of a transformational leadership spin on it, the results may have been different. It might have been more engaging and more fruitful at that point in time. Transformational leaders in education. Um, Traditionally, education has been more of a top-down, and probably for a lot of institutions, that's still the case. It's a hierarchy, top-down management. But transformational leaderships really seek to go beyond just a hierarchy and really is about involving the staff members, involving the administrators, and having them come together at the table, get on the same page, have buy-in, and to make people feel part of the process and build that excitement and motivation that really helps to carry forward change. Um, in the core characteristics of either traditional or new transformational leadership, at the core value of that is really people and being able to talk to people, engage them, and make them feel like they can help with the change. It's really getting people to feel like they can be part of this process and carry the change forward. And that's really what I think is needed in higher education today. It's really more of a transformational leadership style where it's more collaborative and people are really working together towards a greater goal. In my experience, I've witnessed some bad leadership, and in higher education, I worked for an office where the director was very condescending to staff members, and he did that to me early on when I started working in this office. And I actually challenged him, called him out to the carpet as to why he was making references about my work style when I knew what he was alluding to is not what I had actually done. And from that experience, actually, we got closer, and he really appreciated and respected me for being honest with him. But unfortunately, that didn't rub off in his other relationship with staff members. They didn't care for him, they didn't appreciate him, they didn't trust him as a leader, and he just was not moving that group forward because they were alienated from him. Likewise, the assistant director in the office was very much like him, condescending, told her staff all the time that she was the boss, it was her way, and again, didn't really give the people she was supervising a voice. When I was asked to help supervise 7 staff members in that office, I saw it as an opportunity for change. And I chose to lead differently from how they did. I built relationship with the 7 people I supervised. I supported them. I empathized with them when things didn't work out. I praised them when things did. I really gave them a voice and made it about all of us and all of our needs and all of our success. versus what I wanted or what I thought was wrong or right or otherwise. And that really worked for us, and we had a really good relationship, and I was very proud of that. And I tried to help my fellow leaders in this office see that the way that they were going about working with the staff was not productive, but they unfortunately didn't change. But where I feel I was successful and where I feel I was a transformational leader is that the 7 people that I work with didn't no longer have the experiences that they had been having working with these staff members. And I feel that as they move on through their personal goals and move up the ranks within higher education, they're going to be different leaders. And that's where I feel I was successful. Multiculturalism, the reality of today is that we have shifting demographics. It is going to continue to change. There are going to be more cultures, more representation, more languages that are going to be within the United States, and we have to recognize that and embrace it. And in order to really facilitate the change in education, where we're going to embrace the diversity that we have at hand and that's going to continue to grow, it's really to have a transformational leader, somebody who's going to bring people together, who's going to empower team members, get buy-in from staff, and really motivate the change that we're trying to cultivate. Thank you very much, and have a great night.